Revenue transformation involves these 5 Ps I've been talking about: your product or service, your processes, your people, your policies, and your passion. We're going to talk about policies here. The first thing is, if you're not a jerk, if you're a nice person who wants to do good things for the world and for other people, and you want to make it easier for them to do their jobs, you're probably okay with your policies. But you can still make errors because of what I would call management myths. It's more like management rabbit holes. There are rabbit holes that we go down as managers because we think that something is really important and we ought to focus on it, and we do that, and then nothing happens because of it. Nothing changes because of it. An example of that is mission statements. I've seen companies spend 6 months creating a mission statement in the boardroom, in a big conference room with all the leaders, and picking exactly the right words and all of that. Then they put them up on the walls, these mission statements, and they sit there. Nothing changes. The day-to-day operation of the company doesn't shift. And it also is usually lacking some sort of human aspect to it. It's hard to explain, but mission statements are often very corporate sounding. It's sort of like the copy that AI writes typically, which is fairly corporate and passion, or I should say passive voice. It just doesn't resonate with customers and workers. That's especially true if, for example, the mission statement says we're always going to be transparent and we always tell the truth, and our first priority is honesty or something like that. And then the boss encourages people to do something that's not quite on the white side, the white hat side of that spectrum. And the trouble with ethics, which is what we're really talking about, how you treat other people, is there's always a gray area. There's black and there's white and there's a gray area. And the gray area is where things get a little bit iffy. So people use excuses like, well, everybody's doing it, which is, what they tell you when your kids tell you when they're teenagers. Doesn't make it right. Doesn't mean it doesn't hurt somebody. But that's the real question. Who would be hurt by this? Who would be upset by this if they knew about it? If it's in the gray area, there's usually somebody who is going to feel betrayed and disappointed when someone promises one thing and it is doing another, or decides to go ahead and do another, or a boss says, oh, I go ahead and submit that receipt, I'll just count it in my taxes. I used to work for a guy who would have his secretary bring in receipts from her household expenses, and because she wasn't able to write them off, he would write them off as a business expense. That's a gray area. It's, who's going to be hurt? Okay, maybe just the IRS or something, and nobody loves the IRS, so I suppose people think, well, that's okay. But who was really hurt by that is all of the employees he had who thought to themselves, oh, he lets himself be dishonest when it benefits him. So then they can't trust him. Because if he's dishonest there, he's going to be dishonest in other areas. Policies need to be stated and then lived out. You can't put something on a mission statement and then not have that be your truth for everyone who comes in contact with your company or works for your company or partners with your company or buys from your company. That's why policies can be very clearly stated, as in, we always tell the truth. If it's broken, we'll fix it. I mean, those are the kinds of mission statements that matter. If you see something wrong, say something. We will take it to heart and we'll try to make it right. Those are human to human statements, promises, and then managers need to carry them out. And people who are in the company that don't carry them out shouldn't be there. It's really that simple. That's what policies are all about. By having that kind of bluntness, I guess you could call it, but having that be that transparent, I don't like that word because a lot of people who don't tell the truth are actually using that word to say, well, I'm very transparent. That doesn't mean I always tell the truth. It's not the same statement. Anyway, if you encourage people to tell the truth and then you always tell the truth, then your policies will be fine. Your people will follow that same behavior. They'll know that if they tell the customer the truth and work on it with you to fix it, and even if you're not there to approve it, they'll know when they can do whatever they're supposed to do and how to do it, and they won't be paralyzed waiting for you to approve something if you're not around or traveling or whatever. They'll just do the right thing. So your whole company ends up being this machine that treats other people nicely. That's why I think companies as a whole can change the world, because we all have that ability. We all have a little community that we've created with people in it. And if that little community always treats everyone else nicely, then the customers are going to like it, the employees are going to like it, their families are going to like it, partners are going to like it, everybody's going to want to do business with you. That's another place that revenue comes from.